We could make this a musical series.
I no longer do everything I thought I was. I no longer am. We're basically going to be talking about how you're not, well, it says it in the title. I feel like I have changed in every possible way. I'm a completely different person now than before we lost Mum. Before I had some sort of routine, I think life was fairly predictable. Like you have a sort of vision.
It was bugging me.
Of what life will look like for the next couple of years, what it looks like day to day and weekly, like chatting to your mum. And when that is taken, everything changes. Everything that you knew before, you now don't. So that's what this is going to be about. And hopefully, well, not hopefully, it's really shit, but I'm sure many people can sort of relate to this. But basically, you view yourself and everything completely differently. Your perspective shifts on every single thing in your life.
And the people in it as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
You chat.
Okay, so we'll say initially how you change is, like Till was saying, where you have routine and you at least know what the next year of your life vaguely in your head is going to look like, and goals. So like I would say for me, I knew maybe like 3 years of what roughly my life would look like, whether that's staying where you're living, whether that's in your job role where you're working towards, if that's starting new projects. You have these things that matter to you and that you can see happening in your near future, at least, even if it's not something you sit and think about. You've got a general idea of what your day-to-day is going to look like for the next year, and that changes because, like Till said, not only does your day-to-day change because someone very important is no longer in that day-to-day who was a big part of the day-to-day, but everything you give a shit about changes because that person is gone. So I'd say the main feeling is just lost. Like absolutely everything that you thought your life would look like, it just slips through your fingers. It's just gone. With the loss of that person, so is your routine, so is your goals, so is your plan, because for many different factors which will be broken down into different videos, i.e. your goals, i.e. your job role, what you're capable of doing, what you even want to do completely changes. The people you want to be there for and that plan that you once had no longer fits with being able to be there for them. All of your priorities change, mostly because you're trying to get through one day at a damn time. So never mind having a 3-year plan. You don't know how you get into breakfast. You don't know how to even get breakfast. So lost, slipping through your fingers. You want everything to go back to the way it was. But you're in a place where obviously you can't go backwards. You can't get that person back. You can't go back to the way it was because of that person being gone. But you also can't go forwards because you had such a plan of what it was going to be.
It just feels so wrong. It feels so wrong going forward.
That plan doesn't just... It's not just that. The plan doesn't just change and is disappeared. There's not a new one in place yet. Everything's gone because of that huge shift. You don't just lose someone and then crack on as normal because of what I just said. All your priorities and all the technicalities can change too. For example, for a very simple example, I was in a different country. I can't just come back and then go back out and crack on like that hasn't changed my whole outlook even on the travel. So yeah, you can't go back and you can't go forwards. And not only do you feel lost in that, but it also for a very long time, still even now after 9 months, but if we're talking initial loss, it feels like you're in a dream. So it's hard to picture what comes next, even tomorrow, let alone the year, when you feel like this is fake. Genuinely, one of the biggest feelings I had the whole time was like waiting to wake up. Like I almost found it comical.
I think I am.
I still get it 90% of the time, but I would say when it's happened, it's not real. at all. Like, genuinely, it had been like 3 days, and I was like, this dream is long.
Yeah.
Like, I was almost finding it funny, because I was just like, vivid.
Yeah.
Like, really, was when people say they're waiting to wake up, they're not just saying it like metaphorically, like, I'm waiting to wake up from this bad dream. You actually are waiting for like that person to walk in, and I'd be like, you.
Yeah, and then I was thinking, you've taken it a bit far now.
Yeah, taking piss, man. That wasn't funny.
A big thing that comes into this sort of new version as well is learning a whole new version of yourself in terms of emotions. Like, I felt emotions I have never felt before, which therefore have made me a completely different person. For example, anger. That would be a really big one for me. Like, I'm not an angry person. I've never been an angry person. I find it really hard to be angry before. Now, firstly, obviously, you're angry about everything that's happened and it's unfair, and you're angry at that. But I feel anger. I feel it all the time at that, but then at life and at things that just are going on. I don't know. And it's, yeah, that, like, I'm a new person because of that emotion, and I'm trying to learn who I am with those new emotions.
It's a big one.
Because you're a different person now with all these new emotions, you're learning what now matters to you because you're a different person. It's so hard to explain, because it sounds so like, I've heard people say it before, and I was a bit like, really, though, but I can't really remember how I used to how I used to think or function. I just know it's not how I do now, and it's like just trying to figure that out.
You personally, what did you think your life would look like in the coming year, at least, and how that has shifted? What did
I'm gonna get upset.
It's fine.
Get upset on this. Sorry.
Do you want me to talk about mine? So, for example, for me, I had made quite a big decision to leave the country for a few years at least. I actually initially left with Mum, and we travelled for over a month together, and then the next few years I was going to, like, I'd saved up from it for a long time. Travelling has been my focus since I was about 12. 14 is when I started working, and I was saving from then. Like, the whole purpose was to eventually travel, and I'd finally embarked. Sounds way too mature for me, but I had finally embarked on that journey. I'd been gone for a year. It was actually the day before Mum that I wrote Mum my plan, because I had got to a bit of travelling where I was like, okay, need money now.
You've been gone for a year.
And I was like, need money now. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to work here, then I'm going to travel this, and then I'm going to work here, and then I'm going to travel this, then I'm going to work here, and then I'm going to travel this. And within that as well I had factored even trips home. I'd factored in a trip with Mum. I'd factored in Mum coming out to South America. It wasn't all planned and booked. It's just what I saw my life looking like. It was a massive decision when I left England, because I got rid of everything and I put my life in a backpack and I left. And I'd finally gotten comfortable with, like, that is how my life is going to look. It's going to be messy, it's going to be everywhere, and in the best way. And then when losing Mum, not only did that plan obviously come crashing down because I had to come home, be here because of what happened, but there's also, like, being here for you guys, and me wanting to be here with you guys, wanting to be here for Christmas now. I came home at the end of March. It's now almost December. Not wanting to go through certain first things on my own in another country. Anytime I did have a problem in another country, I would call or message Mum. Like, honestly, you should see our WhatsApp. It's all just, like, my injury. Like, the woman has a photo of between my ass.
She was short on call.
Yeah,
doctor.
She was everything in that regard. But this might upset you, but Mum for me was the whole reason I travelled. She was the whole reason for everything I did. And it's easy to say that now, but it's like, I remember when I first lost her, the overall feeling being like, everything I did was either for or because of you. So I know, but it's true. It's like, I did that. I did think when I earned, it was to earn for mum. When I travelled, it was because mum travelled, or it was to impress mum, or it was to like show mum how it had changed and show her what I was capable of, or literally be a dupe of her. Like, the whole travelling thing was to be a dupe of mum. And so not only did my plan change because I had to come home and deal with the things physically, but it also changed because I'm like, what the fuck's the point now? But it's true. It's like, obviously I wanted to travel for me, and travelling was great and it was amazing, and it's not something that I think is completely gone, but that was the whole reason I was ever interested or ever did it, was because of mum. And now that mum's not here, I'm like, what's the point? The heck? Yeah, and who the hell am I going to tell about? Because she's the only one that really cared. So it changes in that regard too. And so not only am I physically home, like I said, to deal with everything physically, all of them I don't know what I want now. I don't know if I want to travel as much as I did, which is ridiculous because that's my entire personality arc. Isn't it? Like, yeah. It's all I've ever spoken about, and I just don't know if it matters to me right now, and that might change. And everyone asking me, like, when are you going to travel again? What are your travel plans? And it's like, I know this is ridiculous because it's my entire personality, but I don't know. I don't have plans. I don't know what this next year looks like anymore. I'm completely lost. I don't know how to go backwards to what mattered before, and I can't put my finger on why it no longer does. So, yeah. Obviously, my routine has changed because I'm in England. Hate it here, by the way. But my goals are non-existent. I don't know anymore. What about you?
Yeah, similar. Not with that, but like, I did have a bit of an idea of what this year would look like. I feel like, even though we've covered bits of this in other videos, like, because of losing mum, lots of friendships have changed. I was in a relationship before losing mum. I'm now not. I was moving into a flat with a partner. I'm now living with you. I I've moved to Manchester 2.5 years ago, but I feel like I was really finding my feet. I'd really just found my people here, and like, I was socialising a lot more and having all of that, and
really, like, was your home.
I was really like feeling content, and like, yeah, I'd found my people. I was in a comfortable job. I was sort of moving into the next sort of stage in my relationship, even though
thank God you didn't.
Thank God I didn't. But in grief, which, like I said, we have touched on this, but so many of those new friendships and things sort of weren't there, I guess, in the thick of it. I like, my life is just not how it was immediately before losing mum, so I literally don't. I'm just here now in a flat. I just feel like I haven't got, no part of my life looks the same as it did before. Friendships, relationships, my literal living situation.
You don't care about your job anymore.
And I don't care. Like, I don't, everything, like I said at the beginning, like, everything I cared about, I no longer do. And things that I do now care about, think I really want to care about, I just don't have the capacity to fully give them my all either. So like, I just have lost myself, and that's like, I've lost how I was before and how I felt before about everything. So
it's like what we said in our Get to Know Me video, like, we're kind of doing it to give ourselves a purpose, because we've lost all sense of that.
And in so many ways, like you said, I'm a much better person in so many more positive, wouldn't you say?
It's like, it's hard to put your finger on that because we're still very much in the phase of shit.
Yeah.
What am I doing? Even with just the little things, like, what am I doing? What is my plan? I don't have a job. I'm like, what do I do in this kind of, like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I had it all set out, and now I'm like, oh my God, I'm in panic mode. And with that comes the practical side of things of, I can't afford to live in anywhere.
Yeah.
But I can't find a job. I can't find a job. I don't know. I'm just stuck, and I'm trying so hard, and I'm getting nowhere. And that comes with like hardships of living in England, but also myself. Like, am I giving it my all? Some days I can, some days I really can't. You're just stuck. You're stuck. But what you're saying is like, it doesn't feel like it right now. And for anyone who is grieving and going through this, it doesn't feel like it. But that a better version of you will come out the other side. And it might not necessarily feel better than before, because you were probably feel happier before because you still had that person. But the things you learn from it are necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you'll be a better person on the other side of this. Not that there is another side to this.
No.
On the other side of figuring out your new goals and your new things that matter to you, and and all of that, a better version will come, because your priorities have shifted because you've realised what matters, and that is, for example, like family or people or friends, because you don't know how long you're going to have them. So you just appreciate the small things so much more.
That's what I meant by changing in ways for good, is
the real small things,
really
like getting up, your body.
Yeah.
Well, for you, I would say it's like your boundaries. Like you're saying, you feel these new emotions as an outsider looking in for you, and the way that you've changed. Although it doesn't feel good to you right now because you feel not pleasant feelings, me looking at you, I can see there's more about you, in the sense of you stand for less. She's always, like in our Get to Know Me video, been too nice for her own good. And I'm not saying that that's changed.
I'm not bitch.
well, but it's good to be nice, but sometimes it's not, because you're getting walked over at the end of the day. And I think stay true to who you are, but your boundaries are much clearer, and your tolerance is much lower. And that is not a bad thing.
No, because you learn that life, I know it's such a cliche saying, but you learn that life is too short to put the energy into things that aren't worth
serving you.
But that also life's too short to, like, not try, at least try and enjoy all the little things.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically everything that you were saying with it doesn't feel like it, but a new version will come out. There's like little bits of it are sprinkling through in both of us, I would say, at the minute. But for people watching this who might not feel there yet, you don't have to know yet. You don't have to know what that future you looks like, or you don't have to know, even like acknowledge why or how you're different than you were before.
I don't know. I think it would be really good if anyone who is going through grief would message us, or even comment below of maybe your experience of how you've changed as a person. I find that really interesting, and it might have been a lot longer for you, and you can't, and you don't know how, you know you've changed, you don't know how, but maybe some people know specifics of like how their life looked before compared to now, and whether that's a good or a bad thing. Obviously you'll always miss that person and the effect that they had on your life before, and now they have a completely different effect on it. But I would be really interested to know what came from that huge change of who you used to be and who you are now, because we're definitely not there yet. And one day there may be a video where we are there yet. But as like you said earlier, at some point there'll be a version of yourself that you look back on and you're like, God, she was lost.
We're hoping that, aren't we?
Yeah.
So
hopefully we look back on this version of ourselves and we're like, she did it. Or like, lol, she had no idea that this is where she'd be. And that's a wild thought, even in itself, without the grief of like, I have no idea what I'm doing.
I didn't before.
Even in the morning, I wake up and I'm like, what does today look like? I don't know. That alone is stressful enough. But like, hopefully we'll look back on this video and be like, well, she didn't think it would be that.
Yeah.
But here she is.
So let us know if you feel the same, or have had any of the same sort of feelings that we've spoken about, because that would be lovely.
Does it get better?
Yeah, please. We're saying like it will get better. It will, because that's what everyone's telling me. So we're just passing that on and telling you it does. But please
we don't know.
So you do have actual experiences.
And we're not saying grief is going to get better and easier. Absolutely not. But we're saying the new version of yourself doesn't necessarily mean it's a worse one.
No. Boom.
Mic drop.